Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yashar'El and Yahudiym grafted in Gentiles into the body of a Mashiach. Listen, we are here to declare the witness of Yahuwah and Yahusha. We are here to make you understand your need to receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yeah, that's right. You need to be born again of the water, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I ain't talking about Christianity. I'm talking about the relationship that is established through the witness of receiving Yahuwah, Yahusha's word, his Torah, which establishes you in this witness. And it gives you the opportunity to receive the gift of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, which will establish you in his kingdom. Listen, we listening to Hezekiah, the song is entitled Sorrows. Listen. You ain't got much time. The time is winding up. You need to understand that you got to get in line with the witness. You got to get in line with the witness. You got to receive Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm not talking Jesus. I'm not talking about the Lord. I'm talking Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm talking about the Yahuwah's son, Yahusha, his salvation. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah, you got to wake up. You got to receive this witness. You got to receive this witness. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I give you praise. I give you praise, Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I give you praise. I give you praise in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I give you praise. I give you praise. I thank you for the word that you gave to Yahushua HaMashiach, that he gave to Yehukanan, that he gave to the apostles. Yahuwah, the word that they recorded and that I have read that has caused me to be established in Emu 9, received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, and have received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh with signs following as it is recorded in the book of Acts. Yahuwah, I give you praise. I give you praise, Yahuwah. I pray that the words that I speak be ruachal. I pray that you take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuwah, I pray that you would go forth in power. That your word would come forth in power. Yahuwah, that it would quicken and it would make alive those who receive it in Emunah. Yahuwah, I pray that those that you have chosen will wake up to the truth. Those that you have chosen that will wake up to the truth and walk in this witness. Yahuwah, I pray it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahuwah, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I trust you. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I believe in you. I release my emunah in you. Like Avraham, I stagger not at the promises of Yahuwah, lure through unbelief, but I'm strong in emunah. I believe your word. Fully persuaded that what you promised, you well able to perform. Yahuwah, I thank you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. The words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart, let it be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray. Hezekiah, the song is entitled Sorrows. I don't own the rights to this music. Listen, man of Yah, woman of Yah. We going in. We going in. Listen. We got to get you to understand. Yahuwah has called me to give you this witness. I don't got time to waste. Listen, I told you the other day, and I told you yesterday, some of y'all who heard what I said yesterday, I was like, Yahuwah, maybe I need to take a break, because, I'm going in a lot, I'm doing 30 plus videos a month. I'm just going in, sometimes a little less, because you come in a month, but I have to more, but listen, right? I'm just going in, Yahuwah, maybe I'll take a break, man. Take a break. You said, what? Who told you to take a break? I ain't tell you to take no break. So, I got to keep going in. Because, listen, I'm going to listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I'm going to do what he told me to do. I'm not going to do anything that he does not tell me. I ain't diverting from the Torah. I'm not diverting from the purpose. I'm not diverting from the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I'm not diverting from the Basora. Listen, whatever you would tell me to do, I'm going to do. So, we got to get through Romans, right? Because there is knowledge. There's truth, right, in this Basora. And listen. You got to understand. Bro, you cannot accept this renewed covenant. Everything that we have, that we're established in, is the fulfillment of this renewed covenant. It's this Melchizedek priesthood. It's the restoration of the nation through the blood of Yahushua Mashiach. You can't just discard this. You can't come up with some idea that this is not a part of Yahuwah's Torah. Listen, you can't do it. If you do, you're lost. You're lost because you don't have his Ruach. You don't have a set apart spirit, so you lost. Right? You ain't his. So, with that being said, we going in. Okay, so we were in the 8th chapter, and now we're moving into the 9th chapter, right? Right? And Yahuwah is speaking through Shaul to the people in relationship to how Shaul feels concerning his own people, right? Because Paul was called to the Gentiles, right? Yahuwah specifically called Yahusha specifically called Shaul to the Gentiles, right? And Paul was to the Gentiles, right? But Shaul loved his brother. Every time he got into a new city, he went straight to the synagogue, right? He went straight to the temple, right? To talk and persuade his brethren. Because Paul was a Pharisee. He loved his people. He loved what he understood at the time as Torah, right? He did. Paul knew Torah. But Paul wasn't obedient to Torah because Paul was murdering folk. Taking people out, having them drug out. Listen. Yeah. No, but Yahuwah told him. Yahuwah said, why are you persecuting me, Shaul? It's hard for you to kick against the prick. What you doing? You persecuting me. Well, Shaul got a clue after that. He was a brew with a clue. Yeah. He received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. He heard the word, right? The word that Ananias brought to him, right? He heard the word and meditated on what Yahushua had said to him on his way from Damascus in those 3 days while he was fasting and not eating. Yeah. He received that word. And he was baptized. And he received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And he straightway went preaching. Listen, this witness will cause you to go straight way. All right, let's go into Romans. Romans, the 9th chapter. He says, Shaul says, I say the truth in Hamashiach and I lie not. Okay, so what is he talking about? Let's go back to the 8th chapter, right? So the idea is that Paul, this chapter, the ideas are attached, right? I mean, what he says in the 9th, 8th chapter directly corresponds, to what he's going into in the 9th chapter. So he was talking about being persuaded, right? He was talking about in all these things, he's more than a conqueror. He was talking, as it is written, for thy name's sake, we're killed all the day long, right? He was talking about who shall separate us from the love of Yahushua, right? Throughout the 8th chapter, he was reinforcing the Ruach HaQodesh's a necessity in our life, and having had the Ruach HaQodesh, what that means, right? So now when we go into the 9th chapter, he says, I tell you the truth in Yahushua Mashiach. I tell you the truth in Yahushua HaMashiach's witness, in Yahushua HaMashiach and his Ruach HaQodesh. I tell you the truth. I don't lie. He says, I tell you the truth. I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Ruach HaQodesh, because the Ruach HaQodesh has established in Paul this clear conscience of righteousness through the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. Paul recognizes and identifies his conscience is clear. He's no longer under the bondage of sin and death. He does not worry about leaven because he's established in the witness of Yahushua. He has the Ruach HaQodesh on the inside of him. And if the Ruach HaQodesh be in you, you keep Torah. Torah is who you are. You walk in Torah. You are not under the condemnation of guilt and sin, because the witness of Yahushua has made you free from that. He says, listen, as I say the truth in Yahushua Mashiach, right? I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh in me testifies to the blood and the water, right, which I have received in Emunah, right? That's the witness of Yahusha in the earth. That's the witness of Yahusha in the earth. He says, listen, I am conscious clear. And the Ruach Ha'Qodesh bears me witness. Yeah, because see, with the Ruach HaQodesh in me, signs following me, and signs wouldn't follow me. The Ruach HaQodesh wouldn't be with me if I was yet dead. If I was yet condemned. If I was yet condemned. Romans, the 8th chapter, the 1st verse. There is therefore now no condemnation. I do not have a death sentence on me, right? I died past the death sentence onto me, but in Yahushua HaMashiach's witness, I have been made free from that death sentence, that sin, that Torah made evident, right? That it became exceedingly sinful because of Torah, right? But I've been made free from that. I'm no longer under the judgment of that. I don't live under the verdict of that. I don't have sin. I do not sin. I do not practice sin, right? Because of the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. There is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Yahushua HaMashiach. Why? Because they walk not after the flesh, the carnal nature that was dead in trespasses and sin, that nature that caused you to be of the Ruach of Hasatan, the children of Hasatan. Listen, I'm no longer under that Ruachal influence, but my Ruach is the Ruach of Yahushua HaMashiach. My Ruach is the Ruach HaQodesh. He says, for the law of the spirit of life in Yahushua HaMashiach, the Ruach HaQodesh that got Yahushua HaMashiach brought Yahushua Mashiach alive from the dead again, is that same Ruach HaQodesh that brought me alive again from the dead flesh, the dead works of the flesh. I am no longer under the bondage of this sin. This does not have dominion over me. He says, Yahusha has made me free from the law of sin and death, right? I no longer have the verdict of death. Yahusha has satisfied that. I gave that to him. He took it on the cross. He nailed it there. He died, and Yahuwah raised him up by the Ruach HaQodesh. And when I went down in baptism and I came up under newness of life, right, being born of the water, Yahuwah then gave me his Ruach HaQodesh, being born of the Ruach HaQodesh, which establishes me in this kingdom. Establishes me in his kingdom. This is the renewed covenant. This is the new order of business. This is the rebirth, right? Right? This is the rebirth of the nation, right? Right? And I'm not necessarily talking about an assembly. I'm talking about as a nation under Yashar'El. This is the rebirth of that nation, Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. It establishes us as his people again. And without this rebirth, right, without this acceptance of the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach and the Ruach HaQodesh, listen, you ain't born again. You're not in Yahuwah's kingdom. I don't care how much you come to the knowledge of you being Hebrew. Coming to the knowledge of you being Hebrew should have made you understand you can't do what your forefathers did. You got to seek a new answer. Well, the new answer is in Yahushua HaMashiach, and it's not really a new answer. It's a revealed answer because Yahusha is in the volume of the book. Right? But see, you got to receive it in Emunah, and after having received this witness in Emunah and having received the Ruach HaQodesh, that Ruach HaQodesh is going to come and lead you and guide you into all truth. That's going to make you alive. That's going to quicken you. That's going to give you what you need. That is going to bring you the Ruach of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of him. The eyes of your understanding are going to be enlightened once you receive the witness. But you got to take it in Emunah. You know, you got to do like Avraham did. Avraham didn't see it. He just received it. You told it to him, and he received it. That's why Husha told the disciples, listen, when he appeared to Thomas, he appeared before the disciples the second time, and this time Thomas was there, right? And Thomas had already said, before, look, unless I stick my hands in the side and in his hands, I ain't going to believe, right? And Husha said, when he appeared to Thomas in the second time, he said, so behold my hands. Thrust your hands in. It's in my side. Go and thrust your hands in. Don't be doubting, but believing. Then Thomas says, I don't, he went on this. You would say, but Thomas, you need to understand something. Blessed are they that going to believe and not seen. You walked with me. You witnessed to me. I mean, you heard me tell you the word. And then I told you what was going to happen, and yet you still didn't believe. But, you got some people that are going to accept this witness in Emunah, and you know what? They're going to be in the kingdom, and they ain't going to even have seen me. Listen, that's me. Because I believe this recorded witness, right? Just like I believe that Avraham was our father in the original covenant. It's the same thing that I believe that Yahushua HaMashiach has established this renewed covenant. And in this renewed covenant, which is just a reiteration of what occurred in the original covenant, right? A lot of what we see in context in the renewed covenant is in the original covenant. It's not even different. I mean, it's not even different. It's actually just a fulfillment of what was in the original covenant. And you struggling over it. Yeah, you Hebrew and you struggling over it. But that's because of that sin nature, that sin consciousness, right? That self-talk, that word that Hasatan puts in your head that causes you to mutter over these lies. Right? And you convince yourself that these things are true. You convince yourself that Husha couldn't be the son of Yahuah because he's the son of Joseph. You convince yourself that that was a creation of Constantine and Tire Vespasian. You convince yourself, and history shows the treachery of Constantine. It's recorded, the treachery of Constantine. They recorded, it's written, right? It's written. But you don't want to believe it, though. You don't want to receive it. So, anyway, we going in still. So, he says, Romans 9. So, he says, in Romans 9, I say the truth and I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? That I have great heaviness and continued sorrow in my heart. Now, see, Paul is preaching and teaching to the Gentiles, and he has bruised that hear his words and that are recipients of this letter. And Paul is like, he has heaviness for his brethren, right? See, that's why I go in so hard, because I love my brother. I love the nation. I love the nation. I hate the fact that the nation is so twisted up, just like their forefathers were. Just like your forefathers were. You're doing the same things that they did. You're not discerning the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. You're not discerning the essential nature of this witness and this Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You're not getting it. And it grieves me, and I go in so hard. I go in because I want you to understand that you're the people of Yahuwah, and he's established this witness for you. He's established this witness for the 12 tribes. You are his firstborn, right? You his firstborn, but you stuck on stupid. I mean, you stuck on dodo bird. You won't receive the witness, right? You want to listen to the lies and entertain the thoughts. You want to cling to Islam, and you want to cling to Egyptology, and you want to cleave to Christianity, Christian insanity. You want to cleave to all of this stuff. right? Instead of receiving the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Listen, the Besorah and the Torahs, that's our history. That's our book. Ain't nobody taking our history in our book. And listen, even if they took it and they wrote it, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, after you receive the witness of Yahushua, will still reveal it to you. He'll still lead you and guide you to our truth. He's just going to do it. Because that's what he does. And you got to understand this, brew. Like Paul, man, my heart is heavy for you, man. Sometimes I listen to some of you, I mean, I listen to you, I mean, I don't listen to you long because I can't listen to you long because you just, you're just so carnal, right? Just so carnal, right? You're none of his, and you're living and you're thinking, believing these lies, and you're not his. You're not his. You're arguing, you're fighting, you're debating, you're cussing, and you're not his. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not his. And Yahuwah has called me to wake you up. You got to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And my prayer is that you would receive it in time. Because we don't know the day nor the hour when he comes, but my prayer is that you would receive it in time. He says, for I could wish that myself were accused from Mashiach for my brethren and my kinsmen according to the flesh, right? So Shaul is suggesting here that if it were possible, he wished that he could stand in the gap, be that one to represent his brother and his kinsmen, right? Right? And preventing them from being accursed from a Mashiach. Because they don't receive the witness, you're cursed. You're accursed. But Paul was like, I wish I could just be that stands in the gap, that provides them this restoration, this reconciliation. But Yahushua did that already. Yahushua did that already. Right? Yahushua did that. For I could wish that myself were accused from Hamashiach. Right? Accursed. Okay, what does he mean accursed? Accursed.
Strong's G 331. Anathema. Anathema.
Anathema. A thing set up or laid by in order to be kept. Specifically an offering resulting from a vow which after being consecrated to Yahuwah was hung upon the wall, right? So the idea is Paul was like, look, I wish I could take their place. But Yahushua Mashiach has done that already. And if they don't receive Yahushua Mashiach as a witness, they ain't going to receive yours. They ain't going to receive you. He says, according to my kinsmen, according to the flesh. He's talking about Hebrews. Paul wants his brethren saved. I want my brethren saved. But you know what? I know that it's going to have to be the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Right? Because I ain't going to die for you. Right? Right? Yahushua did that already. Yahushua has did that already. Right? You just have an ear. You have to have an ear to hear. You just have to have an ear to receive the witness. You got to be chosen. He said, who are Israelites? We're Yaakov. We're his firstborn, right? To whom pertaineth the adoption. It was for them. It pertains to them. Who's the adopt? Listen, Yahuwah is adopting us, restoring us, establishing us in this witness and the glory right? The glory, right? And the covenants, all of them, even the covenant of circumcision, right? All of that belongs to us. That is who Yahusha has come for. That's who he come to restore. That's why, Brew, you got to understand that Yahusha did that for you. He died for the sins of the world, but Yahuwah had a relationship, a covenant with your fathers. What Avraham, Yitschaq, and Yaakov. He chose you to guard his Tseva'oth. He called you to guard his commandments, his Shabbat. This was what he called you to do. And again, Gentiles, brethren, this is not an exaltation of the flesh of Yashar'El. These are spiritual covenants that Yahuwah has just established, and they can't be refuted. You can't get mad at Yahuwah because he chose a people, right? You can't get mad at Yahuwah because he chose Yaakov. You can't get that way, right? He says, listen, we're Israelites. Listen, I am Yahudah, right? I am of the nation of Yashar'El. I am under the covenant of Yisrael, right? I am under the Avrahamic covenant, the circumcision covenant. I am under the covenant of Mashiach, the circumcision of the heart by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I am a Hebrew of Hebrews. I know who I am. Listen, I know where my DNA is. I know where my people treaded. I know where we are from. Listen, I know I'm Hebrew, right? And I know this covenant is to me. That's why I go so hard. That's why Yahuwah has me go so hard for my people, because they need to understand. But listen, that's not to say that Yahuwah don't care about the Gentiles. That doesn't suggest that Yahuwah has not provided Yeshua for you as well. Look, the fact that Paul is preaching this Basara to you is an indication that it's for you. But Yahuwah had a people. He still has a people, right? So Paul serves, he says, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption, right? Because it's to them, right? And the glory, because Yahuwah made a covenant with Avraham. He promised him a city whose builder and maker was Eluah, right? He promised him a city. He promised him a people. He promised him a nation, right? Yahuwah, right? A people, right? And he says the glory and the covenants. There's covenants, that agreements that Yahuwah made with Avraham. Covenant he made with Yitschaq. The covenant he made with Yaakov, right? The covenant that he has given to us as a nation, as our ancestors came forth out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt. And the giving of the Torah was given to us. Was it given to the Gentiles? Gentiles didn't care nothing. You didn't care nothing about the Torah. You didn't care about the Torah. You didn't care nothing about the Torah. You served gods, idols. Whatever Hasatan led you to believe that those idols were performing and providing for you, you took it hook, line, and sinker. You didn't keep Torah. We were to keep Torah, right? That's why we went into this perpetual bondage. That's why we ended up in the Americas, right? On slave ships. That's why, because we didn't keep his covenant. We didn't keep the commandments, right? He says the commandment and the services of Eluah and the promises, right? These are all things that Yahuwah has provided for the nation of Yisrael. These are things that he's done in the nation of Yisrael, right? He says the promises, those are the things that the Torah, that Yahuwah has made. Yeshua is the promise. The city, the kingdom is a promise. Eternal life is a promise that Yahuwah has given to the nation. We were to put the kibosh down. Adam and Havah were to put the kibosh down. We were to be a nation of kings and priests, right? But, they gave it up. They surrendered it. They took on sin and death. Sin and death was passed on. Yahuwah still chose a man, Noah. And out of Noah was produced Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Shem was the people that Yahuwah had chosen, specifically Avraham. The promise, the act of promising or giving a promise. Yahuwah gave promise. He gave promise to us as a nation. The entire CEPHER is about Yahuwah's promise to us, right? And our failure to live up to what he has promised. And how he restored it in Yahushua HaMashiach, reestablished the dominion, took death and hell. Yahushua HaMashiach establishing life in those who receive his witness, causing them to be born of the water and of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Israelites, right? He says, whose are the fathers and of whom concerning the flesh Mashiach came. Yahusha came through the flesh, the lineage of Yahudah. Yahusha was born from Mary's womb into the union with Yosef. And he is of the nation of Yahudah. Yahusha, right? Who are the fathers, right? And of whom concerning the flesh Yahusha came. Our fathers was given a promise. Our fathers was given a promise. Yitschaq, Yaakov, Avraham were given a promise. Our fathers that came out of Mitzrayim were given a promise. We were given a promise. Yahudah was given a promise. The scepter would not depart from Yahudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh, Yahusha, tranquility and peace come. Unto Yahusha shall the gathering of the people be. Yahusha is that which came from, or came as a result of, the promise. He says, who are the fathers, and of whom concerning the flesh, right now, natural nature of things. He was born, right? Hamashiach, who is over all. Yahusha. He's over all. Alua blessed forever. Amen. So listen, Yahusha is over all things under this arrest. Yahuwah has given Yahusha dominion. Yahusha has given his son, Yahuwah has given his son Yahusha dominion in the arrest. Dominion in the Shamayim. Yahusha has dominion. Yahusha has the same dominion that Adam and Havah had in the original kingdom. Yahusha has that dominion in the arrest. Yahusha took the dominion from Hasatan. Yahusha established his dominion in the arrest. Enoch 93, the latter part of that 9th verse, it says of Enoch. Then in the 5th week, during its completion, the house of glory and of dominion shall be erected forever. Right? Now you know that the literal temple was destroyed. There was no stone left unturned. But again, you got to understand what Enoch was, what he had envisioned. He had envisioned the establishment of the dominion, because Yahusha was going to take dominion back from Hasatan forever. Right? Right? He was taking it back forever. And then after that, after in the 6th week, all of those who were in it shall be darkened, because Yahusha said that he must work the work of him that is sent while it was day, because darkness no man could work. Yahusha told his disciples, look, I got to do this and get this work done because darkness is coming. Listen, I'm going to bruise Hasatan's head because I'm going to take dominion, but he's going to bruise my heel. He's going to cause darkness to come upon the Eretz. He says, after that, in the 6th week, all those who are in it, the dominion, the house, shall be darkened, and the hearts of them shall be forgetful of wisdom. They're going to forget the witness of Yahusha and the Torah. Right? And a man shall rise and come forth, and during his completion he shall burn the house of dominion with fire, and all the race of the elect root shall be dispersed. You got to understand this, man of Yahuwah. You got to understand this, man of Yahuwah. You got to understand this. You got to understand this. Listen, this is the sevenfold doctrine of creation. You got to understand it. It's in the volume of the book. The only way you won't get a clue is if you get the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and then and only then will you have a bruised clue, because you will have his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Verse 9, Romans, verse 6, chapter 9. Not as though the word of Elohiym have not taken none effect. Right? Because it has. You've got Yahudiym that have received the witness. You have Yahudiym that have received the promise. You have Yahudiym that have been quickened, that don't have leaven, that have been cleansed, that have been washed, that has been sanctified. He says, not as though the word of Elohiym haven't taken none effect, for they are not all Yashar'El, which are Yashar'El. Right? So listen, not everybody in Yashar'El are Yashar'El. Right? Yahuwah has a remnant of the nation, but not everybody in Yashar'El is Yashar'El. Not all Israel, for they not all Israel, which are Israel. Right? Listen, that's why just being awakened doesn't make you Israel. Right? What establishes you as his people is receiving the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, coming under that covenant. Adoption under that covenant. Being born of the water and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Receiving the witness of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the water and the blood. See, that's what makes you Yisrael. Right? See, I am a Hebrew of Hebrew. Yeah, I have a participation. I am a partaker in the covenants. Oh, yeah. I have the covenants. I bear the covenant of circumcision in my body. right? I have the covenant of Avraham, right? But I have the covenant of Yahushua HaMashiach by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I have the covenant of the Torah. I keep the Torah. I guard the Torah. I am a Torah guardian. I am the Besorah guardian. That's what I do. I guard Yahuwah's Torah. I am an avenger and I am a guardian of his word. Listen, that's what I am because I am Yashar'El. Yeah, I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I'm of Yehuda, and I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I know who I am. I know who I serve. I know who has redeemed me. I know who my high priest is. I know the priesthood order. Right. I know where the tabernacle is. I know where the high priest has went to offer up the blood that was for me. Yeah, I know this, right? I am Yisrael. Not everybody's Yisrael. You got people on the continent that's waking up, right? But they have to wake up to faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. They have to receive the witness. Otherwise, they're not Israel. Not all Israel is Israel. You got to understand, being established as Israel has everything to do with having received the covenant of Yahushua, the renewed testament, the renewed covenant. You have to have received the renewed covenant, the renewed testament, right? That makes you Yashar'El. Listen, just because it's Pesach and you about to go celebrate Pesach don't make you Yashar'El. Doesn't make you Yahudah. You got to receive the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. Then and only then will Yahuwah honor you because you honor that which your ancestors honored. But you have the fulfillment of that in you in Yahushua HaMashiach. And listen, you ain't running around, you ain't spending a whole week and a half trying to purge. Purge what? Purge what? The witness of Yahushua HaMashiach has established you in righteousness. You should be a clean and swept vessel. What are you purging? What are you taking out? What? I'm telling you, man, that's that Christianity that's come over, that's crept in. It's that ideology that, you gotta get yourself right, gotta get yourself right. I gotta get myself right, I gotta repent. What? You should be free in Yahushua HaMashiach. That witness should be in you. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh should be in you. You should be laying the grounds of repentance every time Pesach come up, every time a new year come up, every time. Oh, I gotta lay the grounds of repentance. I gotta repent. I gotta get it right. What? No. You've been made free in Yahushua HaMashiach's witness. I don't have a consciousness of sin. And if y'all got a problem with that, I don't care, right? Because I'm free. I've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. I ain't walking around here talking about, I repent. Oh, you will take it, purge everything out of me. Take everything out. Take it. No, listen. If you have been made free through Yahushua HaMashiach, you free indeed, right? You don't have the condemnation of sin hanging over you any longer, right? And if your mind is getting attacked, use the word of Yahuwah to rebuke the enemies attacks on your mind. That's self-talk. You got to understand this process has not been regenerated, but it does not mean that because stuff comes into your head that you're a sinner or that you need to repent. It just means that when stuff comes to you, you got to deal with it in the word. You got to deal with it in the Besorah and the Torah of truth. Yahushua will tell you, you got to pray more. You got to fast more. Or he'll allow tribulation to come. Tribulation get you on your knees. Tribulation get you on your knees. Yeah, well, tribulation works. It'll get you on your knees. Oh, yeah. Tribulation. He squeezes you. He'll put pressure on you, right? Right? He'll squeeze you, put pressure on you. But that's to cause you to know that you need to pray more, that you need to fast more, you need to seek Yahuwah more, right? That's not because you are all of a sudden this sinner needing to be restored. That just means that you just need to fortify yourself. You need to strengthen yourself. You need to let the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of truth work in you, along with the Torah to reshape your thinking. Not as though the word of Eloah is not taking effect. Yahuwah's word is effective in me. Yahuwah's Ruach Ha'Qodesh is effective in me. Right? It's effective. It's working. Right? Right? For they are not all Yisrael, which are of Israel, neither because they are the seed of Avraham, are they all children, but in Yitschaq shall thy seed be called. Okay, so he says, Shaul is saying, neither because are they the seed of Avraham, right? Because Avraham had seed. Avraham had Ishmael. Avraham had Keturah, children of Keturah, right? He had children of Keturah, right? Right. Avraham had seed. He had those that were of his seed, right? I think Keturah, I can't remember how many children Keturah had. But she was Avraham's wife. Avraham was planting seeds at 100 years old and older. Avraham got married again to Keturah, who bore him seed. Ishmael. Abraham's descendants, the Arabs, the black Arabs, because Avraham was black. You know, they got black Arabs over there, and they keep them hid from you. See, listen, and the whitening has been great, right? That is the order of the Europeans. It's what they've done. In every continent and country they infiltrated. Every continent and country they infiltrated, right, that they colonized, right, they whitened. Right? They couldn't really whiten Africa. Not like that, because Africa couldn't whiten Africans, because Africans, you know, the whole white thing was considered devil thing to them, right? So, you know, you just ain't white in no tribes, right? But you befriend the Bantus in South Africa, right? And then you swoop in and you run them out. And you conquer their territory, right? Then you say it's yours, right? Right? But then what you did was you're like, okay, we're gonna establish this section of Africa and make it ours, right? We gonna take the land of Yahuah, right? And we gonna make it ours. Right? And we gonna make it illegal for the blacks to do what they want to do in Africa, right? But you ain't gonna whiten that. But you know, the other continents, when you went into North America, right? You went into the United States, right? And I started whitening these indigenous Indians. Indians weren't that color originally. They were dark people. They were people of dark color, but they were whitened. Listen, this is just history. You know, this is not even racism. This is history. This is how the nations, the European nations, conquered and took the dominion. They took time to do it. They did it on all these continents that, you know, Argentina. They whitened it. You know, Spain and Portugal. The Moors and the Hebrews ran Spain and Portugal. And then the Hebrews fought against the Moors with the Spaniards, right? Right? And then the Spaniards kicked the Hebrews out and took the continent. The Black Brews. History. Listen. Y'all need you listen. Some of y'all who haven't heard, you need to listen to Hidden Hebrews. This brother Benaiah Israel. Listen. I don't This is a plug to the Hidden Hebrews series. He's got a whole YouTube series on Hebrews and how they were hid. Listen, you got to look at this series. You know, I've been listening to the one that he's done. You know, I drive Uber, right? So I have it playing in my car while people riding with me. No, I ain't gonna change the channel. This is what I'm listening to when you get in. So you know, people be sitting back there, they be quiet. They be listening to you. I don't care. Listen. Yeah, listen to that series, man. You understand. Listen. Neither because are they of the seed of Avraham are they all children, but in Yitschaq shall thy seed be. Avraham had children from other people. Sarah wedded, gave Avraham Hagar, the Egyptian. He produced Ishmael. And then after Sarah, Yitschaq, right? Avraham had children by Keturah. I think her name is Keturah, right? Produced children, right? But he says, these are not all the seed, right? Right? Not all Israel is Israel, right? Now, even in Israel, not all Israel is Israel, right? Because you got to, in order to be a part of the kingdom of Yahuwah's nation and Yahushua Mashiach, you have to receive the witness, which establishes you as Yashar'El and Yahudah, right? Sealed you. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? He says, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Yahuwah. Now, so the children of the flesh was Ishmael, right? Because Yahuwah had told Avraham he was going to have a seed, and Sarah felt like it wasn't going quick enough, so she told him, well, you know, I can't have no kids. I know you said we going to have a kid, but you know what? Why don't I let you wed Hagar, right? And you take Hagar and you produce a seed for us, right? That wasn't Yahuwah's plan, right? That wasn't Yahuwah's plan. That was a child of the flesh, right? And Avraham, after Sarah married Keturah, right, loved her and had kids with her, but they were of the flesh, right? They weren't of the nation of Yaakov. They weren't that seed that Yahuwah had determined that he would, that they would keep his Shabbat, right? They were of the flesh, right? They weren't of the chosen promise, right? So he says, that is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Yahuwah or the promise, right? But the children of the promise, Yitschaq, Jacob, Yisrael, right, are counted for the seed, right? So, it's the seed of it. It's the seed, right? It's the seed. You know, it's the seed of Yisrael, right? Right now, you know that whole thing about what's that? It's in Jamaica. How Lassie, I think his name is Lassie. Anyway, he was supposed to be a descendant of Sheba, right? After Shlomo, so he was supposed to be a descendant from the seed of Sheba, right? Selassie, right? He was called the lion, right? He was the lion, right? And you know, you have Bruce over in Jamaica. You know, they latched hold to this individual, you know, and he was like the prophet, the Judah, the lion, right. But he ain't of the seed, He ain't of the promise. He ain't of the promise, y'all. He ain't of the promise. 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 Sheba was the queen of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is Cush, right? Ethiopia is Ham, right? Ham, Shem, Mitzrayim. I think it's Ethiopia too, right? Anyway, they Ham. It's not the promise. Keturah was not the promise. She wasn't the promise. Hagar wasn't the promise. The nation. And you know, and it doesn't take away that Yahuah blessed the seed that was Avraham, but they weren't the promise. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed, right? He says, for this is the word, the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Sarah shall have a son. Sarah is who Yahuah had told Avraham that him and her would produce the seed that would number the stars in the sky. Right? The nation of Yashar'El and Yahudah flourished all the time. All the time. Right? Right? Even that's why, even when we were brought over here in the numbers that we were brought in, we soon outnumbered the Europeans. That's why they had to start killing us. Our numbers outnumbered theirs. Literally, if we were a people who were together, we could have took America. At the time, we outnumbered them. But what they did was they destroyed us with fear. They took dominion and control of us. They killed us. They executed us openly, shamelessly. Right? And because of this, right, even though we grew in numbers, right, we were still under bondage, having been free from bondage, right? Because there was no consequences to the killing of black folk. Kill a black man if you wanted to. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing, right? Listen, Margaret Sanger wanted to kill all the nation of Yehudah. She was trying to kill the blacks, trying to destroy the seed. That's why she put the Planned Parenthood program in the black communities. Right? Right? She was trying to get us destroyed, take us. And then, you know, they not only did they kill us, they took our the babies that was from the womb and did experiments and stuff. Y'all don't like that, but that's the truth. Right? Verse 10. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Yitschaq. Right? 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 For the child being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahuah according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Right? Excuse me. So Rebekah, right? Isaac, after Rebekah, right? Isaac, right? Yahuwah had already established that there was an election, or I like it how it says here in Enoch, the 93rd chapter, in the 11th verse. He talks about, during its completion, he shall burn the house of dominion, right? We know that was Titus Vespasian, with fire, and all the race of the elect shall be dispersed, right? Right? But after that, in the 7th week, a perverse generation, which we have seen perversion, like, shall arise, and abundant shall be its deeds, and all its deeds perverse. It's perversion, man. All its deeds are perverse. Everything we see is perverse. Right? And during its completion, because we're in the completion, right? The righteous shall be selected. The righteous shall be selected, right? From an everlasting plan of righteousness. We who receive the witness are the elect. We are selected, right? Righteousness, and shall be given the sevenfold doctrine of creation. We're selected. Right, now listen. He says, for being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahuwah according to the election, Yahuwah selected him, right? Might stand not in works, but of him that calleth, right? It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. Yahuwah has a plan amongst the nation. He has a plan that cannot be altered. See, Yahuwah had a plan when he selected Yaakov Yahudah and filled him with his Ruach Ha'Qodesh at a young age and revealed to him the Ruach Ha'Qodesh in its demonstration over time, and in the fullness of time has brought me out to preach this witness, this Basora, this Torah of truth, instructed me to tell you that you must be born again of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, that you must receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. In this last days, you must understand that only those who have his Ruach HaQodesh are his. Selected from a plan of righteousness. The righteous selected from a plant of righteousness. Yahusha is divine. His father is the husbandman. Right? Every branch that don't produce fruit in him is cut off, gather it up, and burned. And every plant that does produce fruits gets some tribulation. They get some purging and some pruning so that they can continue to produce fruit, right? Because they know the tribulation gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna work. Tribulation gonna work. Tribulation is a friend. It's not an enemy. Tribulation is going to work. Yeah, it's going to work. Tribulation is going to work. Patience, right? You're going to understand patience in tribulation. And you're going to develop experience. Yeah, because that's the design of being in the branch, right? Because you're going to be pressed. You're going to be squeezed. And what's not necessarily going to cause you to produce fruit, that's going to die off, right? It's not sin. It's not sin that's getting cut off. You're not pruned because of sin. You're pruned because that particular part of you is not really necessary. It's not necessarily contributing to anything, so it has to go. Some of us, there's some people that's got to go. Yeah. There's some mores got to go. Yahuah said, I need to say this again because the mores need to be careful as to what they do to the people. But listen, you have to understand there's just some mores that you're going to have to prune. Yeah, they're going to have to let go of them. They're not going to be of any value to you as you move in Yahuwah's witness. Yeah, they're going to be a problem. They're going to prevent you from developing, from producing the kind of fruit that Yahuwah needs you to produce. Right? Yeah. You got them. Yeah, they're going to try to hold you back, but listen. You better receive the witness of Yahushua. This word is for somebody. It's for somebody. Somebody who has ear to hear, who's hearing this, need to understand that moral or that moral, that ema, that whoever it is that you holding on to, that is causing you not to do what you has called you to do, you better let them go. Because that's Yahuwah trying to prune your fruit. That's Yahuwah trying to prune you. Yahuwah said, that's him trying to prune you. So, it was said unto her that the elder should serve the younger. Esau came out first. Behind him, Yaakov. As is written, Yaakov have I loved, Esau have I hated. Yaakov have I loved, Esau have I hated. Yahuwah had chosen Yaakov in the womb. The younger was going to serve the older. Yaakov was going to serve Yitschaq. No, Esau. Yaakov was going to serve Esau. I mean, Esau was going to serve Yaakov. The older is going to serve the younger. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. The older was going to serve the younger. Because Yahuwah had a plan. He had a people. He had a people. He had a plan. He had a people. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness in Yahuwah? So what conclusions do we draw? That Yahuwah is unrighteous because he chose Yaakov to bless over the firstborn, Esau? You know, the firstborn was supposed to receive the blessing. Right? But Yahuwah said that he chose Yaakov, not Esau. Esau was firstborn. Now, Yitschaq, if he had his way, he would have, he would have done his thing. Yeah. And Esau would have been the blessed one. But see, Yahuwah had already declared a thing that the younger was going to, the older was going to serve the younger. He already declared it. It's a Torah. Because he had made a choice. See, in Yahuwah's choices is righteous. It doesn't matter what you think. Don't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you think. It don't matter what you think. You can think, yeah, Esau was first. He should have got the birthright. No. It don't matter what you think, because Yahuwah had already declared what was going to happen. And you know, when it came down to it, the mama did what she needed to do to ensure that he was the one that got it. Go dress up like your brother Esau, make that porridge your father likes. You know, put on some skin and some camel skin, you know what I'm saying? Your father can't see. If it's up to him, he go bless Esau. But you had a different plan. Yahuah had a different plan. Yahuah had a different plan. Right? What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness in Yahuah? Do Yahuah do things that aren't right? How is it possible, right, that the Creator who created everything could be held in scrutiny by us as to whether what he's doing is right or wrong? I mean, like, how is that even possible, right? Because he can do exactly whatever he wants to do. And it's going to be right because he chose to do it. He says in that 15th verse, right? For he said it to Mosheh, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Yahuah can do whatever he want to do. Yahuah can choose a people, aqov. Jubilees 2. Jubilees 2 and 20. And he said unto us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the people, and these shall guard my Shabbat, and I will sanctify, set them apart unto myself as my people, and will bless them, and as I have sanctified my Shabbat, and do sanctify it unto myself, even so will I bless them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Yahuah. Verse 21, and I have chosen the seed of Yaakov from among all that I have seen in the earth. Right? I have seen, right, and have written him down as my first. I have recorded him in the Shamaim as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever, and I will teach them the Shabbat, that they may guard the Shabbat thereon from all work. Yahuah chose Yaakov. He could choose to have compassion or mercy on whoever he wants. He raised up Pharaoh just to kill him. Because he's Yahuah, he could do whatever he wants. He is Yahuah Tseva'oth, Yahuah of the armies. Yahuah can do whatever he wants. That's why I'm so grateful that he loved me so, that he gave Husha Mashiach. He did exactly what he wanted. And Yahusha was obedient unto death. Yahusha became the mediator between me and Yahuah, the nation, Yaakov, and his brethren, and Yahuah. He was that went between us. He was that said, I'll satisfy the penalty. I will be the object of death. I will bear their iniquities. Yahuah can do whatever he wants. So yeah, he chose me. Yeah, I am of Hebrew. Yeah, I am of the tribe of Yahudah. Right? I am an avenger. I am Yaakov, Yahudah Ga'al. Right. That's my name. That's my name. That's my name. Yaakov, Yahudah Ga'al. That's my name. Yeah. Why? Yahusha had mercy upon me. Can't explain why he hasn't done it to anybody else. I can't explain to him why he may choose to do whatever he do amongst me and my kids. You know, I sent my kids a text today, and I told them, you know, in so many words, I said, listen, first of all, I want you to know I love you. I'm grateful to Yahuah for giving me all three of you, right? I told my son, you my firstborn. You know, you the builder to make it a family name, right? But you need to live up to that. You need to understand that you were circumcised the 8th day. You belong to Yahuah because I made a promise to him, and I gave you to him. Right? So you aren't your own, you are his, and every struggle that you get is designed to drive you to him. You need to get a clue. You need to receive that. You need to walk in that. You need to submit yourself to that and allow Yahuah to make the difference in your life. Right? And I told my girls, I said, listen, I love you. I said, but this is what Yahuah declares for you. You need to obey his witness. You need to receive his witness. You need to understand that Yahuah has called you to himself. You belong to him. You are his. Yeah, I told them all. I sent them a text, all of them, group text. Told them that I love them. But this thing is greater than that. You belong to Yahuah. You got to do what Yahuah told you. Your father's a Hebrew, right? My son is a Hebrew. Look, you got to live up to what Yahuah said. You got to understand what he's calling you. Listen. You know your father, but that's not just your father. That's who you are. Will Yahuah have compassion on them? I don't know. I pray he does. Will Yahuah choose them? I don't know. I pray that he does. Right? I pray that he does. But he could do whatever he want to do. If Yahuah raised up Phar'oh to kill him, he will do whatever he want to do. Right? He told Mosheh, I can do whatever I want to. I can have mercy on whoever I want to have mercy on. I can condemn whoever I want to condemn. That's me. I got that right. I can do that. Right? He said, I can do that. He says, so then, it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of Eloah that showeth mercy. So the bottom line is listen. The outcome of you is directly related to Yahuah. It's not just because you decide to run for Yahuah. It's not just because you decide to, do what the will of Yahuah is. It's because Yahuah chose you to do this. See, Yahuah chose me to do this. Right? And because he chose me to do this, I got to honor it. I can't just take it lightly. I can't just I ain't going to do it. I mean, I can't just decide, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to serve Yahuah. Right? Man going to serve Yahuah. Yeah, I'm going to serve Yahuah. See, and I'm going to serve Yahuah at all cost. I'm going to serve Yahuah at all cost. Right? Shall tribulation or distress or famine or nakedness or peril or sword. He said, Romans 8:35, who shall separate us from the love of Yahuah? Who shall separate us from the love of Yahushua Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy name's sake, we'll kill all the days long. We'll counted as sheep for the slaughters. But no, in all these things, we're more than conquerors through him that loved us, right? For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angel, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature shall be able to separate me from the love of Yahuah, which is in Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahushua, our Adonai. Nothing. Because Yahuwah has chosen me. Because I am his. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I belong to Yahuwah. I belong to Yahuwah. Hebrew. I'm Yahuah's. You have to understand what you're in. Right? Now, listen, let's go on. Let's go on. You have mercy. Right? He says, for the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even this same purpose I have raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. He used Pharaoh just to show the world who he was. Oh, yeah. Because everybody heard about the plagues of Egypt. Everybody heard about that Yahuah, that Yahuah Eluah, that caused these plagues to come upon Mitzrayim, that drove Pharaoh to let the people of Yashar'El go, and who pursued them and then was swallowed up in the sea. Yeah, Yahuah did that to establish his name, right, in the earth. It was the Eluah of the nation of Yisrael, them bruise. Established his name amongst Mizraimites, amongst, right, the nations that left with Yashar'El and Yehuda, right? Listen, what's her name? Rahab. She received the spies because she heard of the lure of the children of Yisrael. She believed that this Alua could deliver her and her family. She took the spies in, and Yahuah delivered her and her family because she believed the report of the Alua of the children of Mitzrayim. The children of Israel that was delivered out of Mitzrayim. She heard of the fame of the Alua that destroyed the enemies of those Israelites that were making their way into the land. She said, listen, I'll take you in, but, I've heard about your Alua. He said, you just put this in your window. Put this on your door. Yeah, the death angel going to pass. Scarlet something. I think it was a scarlet cloth or something. Yeah, we're going to know who you are. And ain't nobody going to destroy you. Therefore haveth he mercy on whom he will, and whom he will he hardens. He had mercy on whoever he wanted, then he going to harden whoever he wants, right? Thou wilt say then unto me, why doeth he yet find fault? For he who hath resisted his will. Paul says, so now you wonder, okay, so if he gonna do this, well, who can resist him? If Yahuwah's gonna do this, who can resist him? See, the idea is that Yahuwah gives you a free will, but Yahuwah knows what you're gonna do with that free will. Yahuwah gives you a free will. Yahuwah knows what you're gonna do before you do it. Yahuwah knows that Pharaoh was who he was because he knew Pharaoh. Listen, Yahuwah. See, these arguments to me is ridiculous because, listen, you're talking about an Alua that knows everything. He knows what you're going to become. He knows what's in your heart. He knows what you're going to end up. See, you knew what I was going to become. That's why he guided me through the tribulations that I've experienced to bring me to the place where I am now. He knew what I was going to be doing right now. He understood the significance of this word, this Ruach word that it was going to be given to me, this witness that I was going to declare, this having you know the necessity of receiving the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He knew I was going to be good for it. Could I have resisted his will? Yes. But he knew I wasn't. Oh, there was times that I wanted to do what I wanted to do, but he knew I would. He knew I'd be where I am today, right? But he also knows those who resist him and gonna be exactly the wickedness that they gonna live up to. Nay, but a man who art thou that replieth against the Lord shall the thing formed say unto him that formed him, why made it thou me? How you gonna question Yahuwah? He made you. You have a right to question him. Excuse me. Yahuwah has established you. You don't have a right to question him. Right? You don't have a right to say, why you make me like this? Haveth not the plotter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another dishonor? Can't do what he want to with it. Yahuwah, I give you praise that you've created me as a vessel of honor. I give you praise that you've created me as a vessel who would willingly be poured out for your use, who would willingly allow you to speak through me by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yahuwah, I give you praise for establishing me. I give you praise for what you have done in me. I worship you, Yahuwah. Listen, man, if y'all want me, I gotta get a clue, man. You gotta get a clue. You gotta get a clue. The nation, even the people that are in the nation, those who have waken up to who they are, Yahuwah is going to bring you that he has chosen in. And it may be by this very word that you have heard this day that cause you to recognize who you are and what he has done. He's chosen you for a vessel of honor. Nay, but a man, O man, who art thou that replieth against the Lord? Shall the thing that is formed say unto him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Having not the potter power of the clay to make one lump a vessel of honor and one another of dishonor? What if a Lord, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering a vessel of wrath fitted for destruction? Pharaoh. He endured Pharaoh. Mistreatment of his people. Right? And in the process, right, turned around and established him to experience his wrath. Swallowed up by the Red Sea. Yahuwah could do whatever he wanted to do. He made Pharaoh a vessel fit for destruction. He says, right? Right? And that he might know the riches of his glory, and that he make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he have of afore prepared unto glory. Yahuwah chose Yaakov, his vessel prepared unto glory, right? So what if he destroys the other nations? What if he destroys America, right? For his vessels that he has chosen in the midst of America. Vessels of honor. Right? And to destroy vessels of dishonor. Yahuwah could do whatever he want to do. Yahuwah could do whatever he want to do. Right? He says, what if a Lord, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering? He endured with much long suffering the abuse that we have suffered. It was our fault, but these nations, they went in on us. They went in on us. Spanish Inquisition, they went in on us. They hung us. Still walking around parading on Easter in these hoods, these Ku Klux Klan hoods. Spanish Inquisition, Roman Catholic Christianity. Man, you ought to read what they did, man. They people, you had to receive Jesus or die. Heathen death. Yeah, and they gonna rape you in the process, men and women. They don't care. But they Jesus carriers. Come on, that's documented history. He says, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy. I am a vessel of mercy. I've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. I have his Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and I am in expectation of the riches of the glory of the inheritance that is in me as his Kodeshim, which he have before prepared unto glory. He had prepared this for me. See, the kingdom was always ready and waiting for Yahusha. And that witness came. The dominion came. And the righteous were selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness. That witness came. And we became partakers of that nature. We became partakers of the witness. I am of Yahuwah and Yahusha's witness. I love Yahuwah. I love Yahuwah, man of Yah, woman of Yah. I love Yahuwah. Because Yahuwah cared enough for me to do this, right? I think we're going to get through this whole chapter. We're going to get through this chapter, right? He says, for even us whom he haveth not, even us whom he haveth called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. So Yahuwah has chosen, made selections, not of just the Hebrews alone, but of the Gentiles as well. And he saith also in OC, I will call them my people which were not my people, and her beloved which was not beloved. Gentiles. I will call them my people which were not my people. Gentiles. And her beloved which was not beloved. Because she received a witness. And Emunah. And Yahuwah and Yahusha came and lived in them. And the love of Yahuwah that was shed abroad in their hearts. He says, and it shall come to pass in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living Yahuwah. Elias also cried concerning Yisrael, though the number of the children of Yisrael shall be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So, only remnant gonna be saved from Israel. Only those who receive this witness. Not you who are Torah only, Tanakh only, Yah only, who don't receive the witness of Husha, Mashiach, but only those who receive the witness of Husha, Mashiach will be a part of the kingdom. That's a remnant. It's a remnant. Right? And he's talking about Yash. Now he switched to speaking specifically to Yashar'El. Now you know the Gentiles are going to be a remnant of the Gentiles as well, because you know Gentiles. You has got chose. He's going to choose certain of the Gentiles, right? He'll choose certain of the Gentiles, just like there's a remnant of us. He says, listen. Elias, the prophet, also cried concerning Yashar'El, though the number of the children of Yashar'El be as the sands of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. A called out. What's a remnant? Let's look at that Greek word.
Strong's G 2640, Upalema.
Upalema.
Upalema. Thayer's lexicon, Katalema.
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 Right. The etymology of that word is
Strong's G 2641, Katalipo.
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 The etymology of that word, the root of that word is to leave behind, right? Or in this case, a remnant that's saved. It's going to be a left behind or a left out of the to leave behind, to depart from, to leave, to bid or remain, to bid, to remain, right? So it's the idea that there is something that is going to remain. That is going to remain. Let me see, what is that? Let's see if I got that. I had it in 3007. Let me see if that was in there. Etymology of that word. Uh, 3004. Catalana. Let's see. That's Strong's G 2640. It means remains, a remnant, that which remains, right? So Yahuwah is going to gather that which remains. Right? He's going to purge the rebels. And that which remains is that which is gathered. Let's look at that word, G2640. See 2640, G2640. Let's see if it's in there. G2640. No, G2641. Yeah, I think it's 2041 too. Yeah, G2641. It means, the Hebrew, 3498, to leave behind, to set aside, to retain or to hold over, to a future time or place, to leave or to remain. Bro. Listen. He says, where's it at? And he says, Elias also cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, right? As be of the sand of the sea, right? There are those that are left behind, those that Yahuwah has set aside, those who he has retained or held over to a future time or place, to leave or to remain, to leave, to take away from, to neglect, to remain or to continue unchanged, to stay behind. It's the same as the nation of Israel wandering in the wilderness 40 years. During that time, those that were unrighteous died off in the wilderness. Those that murmured and complained died off in the wilderness. And we know that we have been awakened and the 400 years of our captivity is over, right? We know that. We understand that, right? And we know that we are in the midst of the awakening, the quickening, right? The quickening, right? Yahuah is quickening his people by his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He's establishing those in the witness. And see, once this basor, this witness, is established in the arets in this dispensation, right? Then Yahuah is going to purge the rebels. Because Yahuah knows who's going to be a rebel and who's not. Right? Yahuah knows who's going to be a rebel and who's not, right? So he says a remnant shall be saved, will receive Yeshua. So I've received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, which is my seal, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I am saved. I am that left behind. Right? You know, they did a movie Left Behind, right? And it suggested that the people that were left behind were the people that were the ones that were sinners. When in actuality, the left behind directly references those who have made it through. Made it through. That aren't going to be gathered, that have been made it through. Right? Right? So he says, man, I got a few more verses. He says, for he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness. For he will finish the work and cut short in righteousness. See, because of my righteousness, Yahuwah's going to cut the work short. For those who have received the witness in this hour, in this last hour, after we have received the awakening, we have received the quickening. Once we receive this quickening, and the quickening has gone forth in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and receiving the witness, once you receive that witness, look, you're going to shorten it in righteousness. Because a short work will Yahuwah work upon the earth. He's going to do this thing quick. You better receive the witness. You better receive the witness. He says, and as Elias said before, except Yahuwah of Shabbat had left us a seed, we had been as Sodom and been like a Gomorrah. I'm glad Yahusha. He has a seed. He has something he's left behind. He has left me behind in this witness. Because I've received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. I'm not fit for destruction. I'm not to be destroyed. Right? He says, what shall we say then? That the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness have obtained to righteousness, which is the righteousness is of Emunah. He says, so what that the Gentiles which follow not after righteousness, Gentiles that follow not after righteousness, have obtained the righteousness? You crazy. They haven't received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, therefore they still going to receive the blessing. No. That's just like Christian church. Christian church ain't followed after the righteousness of faith in Yahushua Mashiach's witness. You think they gon' make it? He says, but Yashar'El, which follow after the Torah of righteousness, have not obtained to the law of righteousness, right? Wherefore, because they sought it not by emunah. See, they follow after the Torah, right? Israel, which follow after the law of righteousness, hath not obtained to the law of righteousness. Follow not after the law of righteousness, having not obtained the law of righteousness. Listen, Hebrew, you seeking the Torah, but you're not seeking the Torah of righteousness in faith in Yahushua Mashiach. You got to receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. That establishes you in righteousness. That is the ruach of righteousness that causes you to keep the Torah. Yahuah said that he was going to sprinkle you with water and put his Ruach Ha'Qodesh in you so that you could cause you to keep the Torah. You got to keep the witness. You got to keep the Torah. Now, so just like the Gentiles, you know, if they don't believe in Emunah, in the righteousness that comes through faith in Mashiach, right? If they don't believe that, they ain't a part of Yahuwah's kingdom. They ain't going to be saved. And just like Yahudiym, if you don't receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, you ain't going to be saved either, no matter how much Torah you keep. No matter how many Shabbats you go to. It doesn't matter how many feasts you go to. If you haven't received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, listen, you know it is. He said, because they sought it not by Emunah, as it is written, the works of the law, for they stumble at the stumbling stone. That's you, bro. You Torah Tanakh only. You Yah only people. You stumble at the Torah. You stumble. You stumble. You stumble. It's a rock. It causes you to be tripped up. Right? Right? As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion the stone. Yahushua Mashiach, right? A stumbling stone, right? Because it's going to cause some of y'all to stumble. It's going to cause me to receive Emunah and receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and walk in this, swear in this Torah and keep Yahuwah's commandments and be established until the end. Yeah. Prepared to receive riches and glory. Yeah. That remnant, right? I'm that retained one. Yeah. That one that's left behind that Yahuwah is going to gather into himself. Yeah. He's going to weed out all the rest of the stuff first. Yeah, he's going to weed it out. He gonna weed it out. He's going to pound it into powder. He's going to purge out the rebels. As it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense. Yeah, they was offended at Yahushua's witness. How you going to say you the son of Eluah? Yahushua said, you offended because I say that I am the son of Eluah? He's offended, right? How you going to say that there's salvation in Yahushua Mashiach when we got the Torah Tanakh and Yah only? It's a stumbling stone, right? It's okay. You know, because you're going to be pounded into powder. You're going to be made dust, right? He says, and whosoever believeth on him shall not be ashamed. I ain't ashamed. I believe on him. I received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. I believe on him. I received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. I believe on him. I received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. I believe on him. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen. You got to be established in this witness. You got to believe on the witness. And just because you Yahudiym, just because you Yisrael, don't mean you Yisrael. You got to establish in this witness. You got to receive this Torah of truth. You got to walk in this Emunah. Yahuwah, I pray in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach that the words you've given to me to give to them, that they would receive them and that they would keep them. I pray that it would bring life and peace and medicine to their flesh. I pray that it would quicken them, make them alive, understand who they are in Yahushua HaMashiach, Hebrew and Gentile alike. Either one are without excuse, because the witness is made available to everyone who receives. To Yahudiym first and to the Gentiles. Yahuwah, I pray that your word would go forth and it would not return unto you void. Yahuwah, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Man of Yah, woman of Yah. That's it. Another one brought to the close. The 9th chapter of Romans. Listen again. Listen to these chapters. Go back to the beginning and go through them all again. These videos, because listen, they build. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh progressively builds to a point, and each level, each round takes you higher and higher in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and an understanding of this Torah truth. So man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Woman of Yahuah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, today Yahuwah is favored. You walk in this Ruach. Walk in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Be led by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and trust Yahuwah. Because in him is life. And that life was the light of men. Light shined in darkness. And darkness comprehended it not. Hasatan never got the victory over Yahusha. And Hasatan never has to get the victory over you. Because Yahuwah has swept your house clean. He has sanctified you, consecrated you. He has established you in this witness. You belong to him. Walk it out. Walk it out, walk it out, walk it out. And be established in this witness. So with that I say, shalom, shalom, shalom. Be blessed.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.